Check this out, brand new 16-bit Super Nintendo with Super Mario World. Wow!
What's this one?
Oh, this is a Sonic the Hedgehog from Sega Genesis.
At over 15 million copies sold, the best-selling Sega Genesis game by far was this. The original Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, if you had a Genesis back in the day, chances are your copy of the game looked just like this one. Or did it? In fact, it's more than likely that your copy of Sonic the Hedgehog didn't look exactly like this. Can you spot the difference? Don't worry, we'll explain it all on this episode of Complete Inbox. Welcome back to Complete Inbox, the series where we take a look back at classic games by looking at the box, the manual, and all the other stuff that they came with. When you're talking about Sega history, there is nothing as iconic as Sonic the Hedgehog. As the 1990s began, Sega wanted to take on Nintendo's industry dominance head-on with its new 16-bit Genesis. And that all started with coming up with a company mascot that could rival Mario. So Sega held an internal contest to create a new character. Sonic, originally called Mr. Needlemouse, was the winner. Japanese and American design teams worked together to come up with the final look for the character, and the fast and furious gameplay was the perfect showcase for the strengths of the Genesis hardware. Sonic was so good that the aggressive American marketing team wanted to take a huge risk and bundle the game in with the Genesis hardware, while simultaneously lowering the price of the whole package to $150. The parent company in Japan hated the idea, but they pushed ahead and it paid off big time. Sega sold millions and millions of Genesis systems with Sonic in the box. So if you bought a Genesis after June 1991, it probably came with this. You'll notice that big banner reading "Not for Resale" printed across the top of the box and cartridge. That means this was one of the copies that was packed in with Genesis hardware. This was put there so that consumers couldn't return the game to stores for full price, or maybe so unscrupulous retailers couldn't take the games out of the box and sell them separately. This is also the most common version of Sonic the Hedgehog out there. But keep your eyes open, because there are two other versions of Sonic the Hedgehog that look almost identical to this, but are actually much harder to find. This is the first printing of Sonic the Hedgehog. Note the lack of any not-for-resale banners. This is what you'd buy in the store if you already had a Genesis, but not Sonic. Now that didn't actually apply to very many people, so there are relatively few of these out there. Now, much later, in 1996, well after the launches of PlayStation and Sega Saturn, Sega wanted to get some more Sonics onto shelves, but by that point, it had joined up with the Entertainment Software Ratings Board, meaning that all its games now had to display the now familiar age rating. Sonic now had the rating of kids to adults, which is now known as E for everyone. The front of the box and the manual were both changed to add the rating. Now, Sega had to redesign the box to put the ESRB rating on the back, too, but apparently they really didn't want to do too much work on this, so they put the ESRB stuff where the UPC symbol used to be, and then put the UPC symbol on the spine. At least that makes it easy to find this variant without even having to take it off the shelf. This ESRB rated version is by far the rarest variant of Sonic the Hedgehog on the Genesis, and the original retail version isn't easy to track down either. So the next time you go to your local game store, look a little bit closer. You might find a rare Sonic. Complete Inbox.